For those just starting out, to those who built their reputation. In the detail industry, navigating the course is a daily grind. This is Play-by-Play with industry professionals tackling topics and offering tips to help improve your game plan. Now, here's your Play-by-Play.
What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of Play-by-Play, and we got Madison in-house today and my boy Ryan, of course. In the last couple of shows, we've had some home runs talking about the double-edged sword of social media and how it can be good and how it can be bad and how to address those issues and how to deal with them. And today, we're going to just we're going to double down on the lady side of it. We're not going to talk specifically about the social media, but we're going to talk about stereotypes and how they have handled that in a predominantly male-dominated industry. And I hate to say that because I truly believe that women, like as a fact, are a better detailer, in my opinion. So excited to have a panel of them on and talking about how they run their business and how they do things.
That's right. We even have our marketing director, Madison, to represent the females here in this at our podcast table. Yeah. And so, excited to have her on today.
I know. Make sure you're on your best behavior, right?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. And the truth is, let's just be real. Okay. The truth of why Madison's on, first of all, she's a better podcaster than you are, Ryan. She is. She's much better. She sounds so much better. It's appealing to the ears, and she's much prettier. like I didn't even have to say that.
Give it up.
But literally, like Ryan has foot and mouth disease so bad. Matter of fact, in our Christmas party, I think that was his award one year. Was it foot and mouth? Okay.
Yeah.
So
what do you mean by foot and mouth, Madison?
Ryan,
I tend to. Sorry,
that's Ryan's attempt at mansplaining.
I heard about mansplaining yesterday, so
we brought Madison in to make sure that make sure Ryan did not put his foot in his mouth.
I'm a good boy.
Yeah, you are. You're a good guy.
That's right, man. So I agree, and this has been a long time coming.
Glad you agree.
Actually, Madison never spoke up. So we're going to be talking about stereotypes and how a lot of women in this industry, they probably feel at times that they don't get the respect that they deserve, and there's probably a lot behind that. And so we're going to really dig into that. We're also going to have our hacker hack today.
Are we sticking with the format where we do not know the hack? As I know, I don't know it.
I know it's been a lot more fun. I definitely have been enjoying trying to figure out the hack. So we're going to give it a shot.
Do you know the hack?
I don't know the hack.
Okay,
I'm
this
nervous.
is going to get good.
Well, just so y'all know, just to give you a little hint, it's going to be about a car.
Oh, well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
That's what we're talking about.
I'm excited about hack. I think that Madison, her being able to, her input, being able to talk about what's going on, ought to add a new twist to it. Hacker hack's been fun. But you know what? Before we get to all that, we got to talk about our topic today. And we brought it up a couple times, so we might as well just stay in tune with that. And that's stereotypes. And, Madison being on, I think it's a great opportunity for you to kind of speak to your experience that, and then I'll speak about how, that never really made sense to me. I never kind of bought into that.
Mm-hmm.
I hire whoever's most fit for the job or could be fit for the job.
Or has two legs.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So,
just off the top of my head, like the first stereotype, the main one I think is women in business are soft. And I think a lot of these details can relate to that.
Yeah.
When I don't know about their customers, but I know some of ours, when they talk to you, they almost talk down to you.
Yeah.
And that has to be the most frustrating thing in the world because I'm not that person. And part of me wants to be professional, but the other part of me is just like, okay, shove it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because you're confident in what you do. You're a strong-minded leader of the marketing team. And, when I think about a customer doing that to you, it infuriates me to know that somebody would think like that, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, if I'm going to someone for a service, I'm hiring them as a professional, not as a gender. Right. And it doesn't really matter.
Well, and in a way, it kind of motivates me too to really show out. And because now I have a point to prove that I am strong, I'm independent, and I am a woman, but I can do what you can do in the business world. Probably better.
So it reminds me of a thing that I used to deal with a lot. And I was young when I started running my own business, very young. And I'm like 14. And so from 14 to, I would say, probably 24, I had multiple businesses in that era, and I was always young, and I look young now, minus the beard, and I look really young. Yeah, I have a baby face, and so people were always like, just didn't think I was the guy in charge. You know, they did not take me serious because I was such a young kid, and even though I knew probably more than they knew about what they were asking about, I would get that same approach. So I can definitely, I relate to what you're saying in that. And I've been in that situation, and it's tough, but it's a driver, you know, it pushes you to make sure that you know what you're talking about, and you do, you know, and you do what you say you're going to do. Yeah.
And I think a lot of women, they just have to, when you're confronted with that, you got to change your mentality. Right. And be like, instead of this just pissing me off, I mean, make it motivate,
make it productive.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and it makes sense. I mean, that's with anything that you have that tries to pull you back. You want to use that as fuel to push forward. And it's easy to say, but when you're in the heat of things and someone catches you off guard, you know, it makes you want to you show your frustration. But if you just use that as a, you know, as a motivator, as a fuel to push, I think you can come out better. Yeah. And go ahead.
Well, you know, when being soft, when people assume that you're soft, you can also be easily finessed, right? Yep. So they'll try to trick you into either thinking you're wrong, they're right, or, for example, my husband, he takes my car to get an oil change. Probably once every month, every couple of months.
Probably not that often, but
we'll just say that whenever that little light comes on.
Isn't that a stereotype of women that they don't take care of their cars?
No. That's just a personal thing.
Okay. Ryan, you just think that.
Literally.
Are you hungry right now?
What is a woman? Exactly. Define it.
So when he takes my car to get an oil change, we go to the same place. Half the time, it's the same people. It's a small business. And they'll charge him maybe $40-$50, right? I took my car one time. I'm independent. Yeah. Okay. I was going to do it.
Right.
And they charged me $90. And I looked at him and I was like, this can't be right. And he was like, no, that's it. And I could try to argue it for a minute. And he was like, nope, that's it. Swipe the card. I'm out.
Sure. Well, in the thought there, Ryan, I guess it's like men are going to make the assumption that she doesn't know about what her car needs and just do something extra to upsell.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you need a new air filter. You know what I mean? Assuming that they can't look at the air filter and tell
or even know what that is. Exactly. You know, and that's a stereotype.
Yes.
And Ryan, I wanted to put it in perspective for you.
Were you just mansplaining to me?
Yeah, I am actually. Like, think about your daughter, like experiencing that, and like you're gonna want to oversee her oil change, and you know, because you know of that, and so that's her experience. But you know it, but she's gonna experience that, and that's the whole point, is to get people to understand that. Can that stuff, you might think it, but you don't have to act on it. And it may because we're all raised in a certain way, right? We can't control what we've been taught or learned, but you don't have to act on it. You can kind of push those feelings or thoughts to the side and say, let me just treat this as if she was anybody else. Right. And, you know, and ask her, hey, would you like me to change the air filter? And if you don't know what that is, let Ryan explain it to you.
No, you're absolutely right, man.
You know, but listen, again, I'm going to go on and say I have, so there's 35 or 36 employees under roof here between Easy In and Detail Bookie and Bayshore, which you run. And I would probably say out of those 35, I'd say 23, 24 are women. So we are a woman-dominated business, and I love it. I love it at times. There's times where I don't love it. You know, there are a lot of tears shed in my office.
That's a stereotype. We're trying to break those stereotypes, Dustin.
It's not just women. I just said there's a lot of tears shed.
I've seen you cry.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's not all women. No, I had somebody in here the other day, and it was just break down. And but with having more women than men, we have those. But listen, we get things done. Like when you talk about creative and you talk about, organization, and you talk about things that are just like clicking along, man. I love
make the best lunch.
Ryan. Can we mute his
This
mic?
is the whole reason I had to come on this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I figure let's make it worth it.
But serious, Ryan, we're joking. We've had these
100%,
conversations pre-show, and it is a joke, but that's reality, right?
Yep.
And so, all right, but you know what? You know who's going to know more about this than us?
Yeah, the ladies that
Our
are doing
guests.
it every day.
Let's bring them in. I need backup.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
bad.
Hello there, Miss Christy.
Here they come.
All right, we got Sarah here.
So much prettier than just Ryan. Like this is what a wonderful show already.
I should have just hung back and watched this.
Yeah.
Oh, we have
agree.
the lovely Tracy and we got Miss Paige.
So y'all are probably able to hear some of our conversation before we brought you on, and we're talking about stereotypes. But before we dig deep into all that, I'd like to kind of pass the mic and just give us an intro of your, who you are and the name of your business, maybe how long you've been in business. We want to keep it short, but just so that way the audience knows exactly who we're talking to.
Start with you, Christy.
Okay. So of course I'm Christy Vest. I'm the owner of Liquid Art Detailing. My business is still fairly new. I started it roughly about June 2020. My background basically is automotive. I come from a customer service, sales, and communications background. So I'm a little broad in that respect. So hopefully I can share some things that have helped me in my business.
And you're also recently training, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So offering some trainings yourself?
Not yet. I'm still training under Team Revivify, but that is the overall goal, is to push to be training.
Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Sarah, what you got?
I am Sarah Wilkins. My husband and I own So Fresh and So Clean Detailers here in Naples, Florida.
Love it. Love it. So down in Florida, you guys are experiencing some devastation down there. How did y'all fare the storm?
We were very, very lucky.
Great.
Our home, our shop, and all of our families went fairly untouched. For the most
our
part.
Prayers are with you guys and everybody that's experiencing that. I mean, it's terrible. Paige, I think y'all are down in Florida as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we were on the other coast. We were in
so
Brevard County, so we just saw the tail end of it and a lot of rain.
A lot of rain. Yeah. While we're talking, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Paige Evans. Me and my husband own Stick to the Details, and we started in March of 2020, so we're still relatively new. And then I didn't officially start the business until about a year afterwards. I was working at Collins Aerospace soldering avionic equipment.
Wow.
Which has nothing to do with my degree. I also have an English degree that I do not much with, but somehow, ended up here doing the detailing thing, and I will never turn back.
No kidding. It's funny, Tracy. We'll get to you just one second. I do want to mention that on the degree side of things. So I have a degree that I don't use. Our office manager just graduated with her education degree. That she's not pursuing education. She's staying with us to run the office here. And then we had Trey Huggins as our shop manager that had a PhD. He has a doctorate in physical therapy, and he worked here for a year and a half or 2 years with his degree. So we know all about degrees not being used specifically for what they were sought after, but I think that just the discipline to go in there and do that is amazing. And
right? And that's experience that you pick up from it as well.
That's right.
You learn more from the people that you meet during that time almost than what you do in the classroom with the books.
That's right. That's right. All right, Miss Tracy, what you got for us?
I'm Tracy Haynes Urfer. My husband Glenn and I own Automax Plus. We're located in Dutchess County, New York. We started our legit business, because we were detailing on the side. We started the week COVID hit in 2020. Wow. We signed a lease on our shop literally the week COVID hit, not knowing there was going to be a world pandemic.
Oh my
we survived that, survived and grew, and we just moved into a new location this week. So that's why there's nothing on the walls behind me.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys didn't survive. Y'all thrived. I mean, we followed y'all for a long time. We've met you at trainings at the IGL facility, and you guys have just done a phenomenal job the way you run your business and stay on task, stay organized. It's look, I love it. I love to watch you run shows. So Well, look, the way I think Jessica mentioned it, we're going to ask some questions. We'll kind of direct them towards a couple of you, let you answer, and we'll just pass it around that way. That way we can keep the show rolling if that works for y'all.
Sure.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Hold on. I was first on this list.
Yeah.
Madison, where are you at? See?
All right.
I want to start out. Hold on. Paige, I've recently learned a fun fact about you, that you are from a family of witches. Would you like to tell us just a little bit more about that, since we're in the spooky season?
I mean, it's just a little fun fact. Way back in the day, somehow my family members, they put together a family history. And in there are 2 sisters that were accused of, they didn't say how they were killed, but they did end up dying during that time.
The Salem witch trial, right?
Yeah, the Salem witch trials. So yeah, my whole family's from Ohio and in that area. I'm the first Florida native down here, so it's pretty cool. The whole I consider myself an empath. I'm pretty big on emotions and feeling people out, and I've got crystals everywhere. I make Ray carry a pocket rock, is what we call it.
Really?
Yes, cool. And if you ask him about it, if he leaves the house without it, it's gonna happen.
That's awesome.
Sorry, that was my little off the script type question that I had to get out there. I was very interested in getting some more of that. Back to business, man.
We'll bring it back.
Ryan's the only one I know passes the mic and takes it right back. Look, here you go. No, I'm taking it.
All right, Christy Vest, I'm coming at you. Okay.
All right, bring it.
So Dustin mentioned that one of the stereotypes is women are a little bit emotional. Now, let it be known that a man let his football team lose a game, right? And it ruins his whole day.
Well, yeah.
So I don't think it's about emotion, though. I think it's how you manage your emotions, right? Okay. So, Christy, have you ever had a heated exchange with one of your customers? How did you handle it?
So I'm probably like the worst person to ask a question.
No, you're the best.
So,
she's got the best.
And the reason I say that is I'm the most emotionless female that you So I'm not a crier. I'm like military. So no, I have not had any kind of altercations with a client. Of course, in-house, it's just me. So I'm fortunate there. No, I'll be honest with you. I don't run into those things. And I think a lot of that's just simply because of my background.
Okay.
Having a communications background from college, that helps me from the get-go. Mm-hmm. When I introduce or I meet a customer head on, I've got them sized up before we ever get going.
I like that.
I'm looking at their body language. I'm looking at what they're saying. I'm asking questions. I'm basically letting them, quote unquote, vent before we get going. And that keeps that from happening for me. Once I get a feel for their ego, their expectations, everything, I'm seeing that up front, and I know how to handle that going forward. So it really eliminates my altercations with people. And the fact that I think just in general, I don't think you'll see that a lot with women. Most men that I run into, they actually approach me softer than I approach them. Yeah. More so than anything. It's kind of I can let my guard down just a little bit. I don't have to be at this point where I would have to be at this point if I was dealing with another man. Right. So it just really eliminates a lot of those things for me. And I'm really fortunate that I don't run into that.
That's awesome.
I was thinking as you were saying that, because we're training a new shop manager, right. And just like you said, you let the customer speak. The customer's going to tell you what they want. And Ryan, you're actually redoing your demo in this aspect, so it's all relative. You let that customer come to you and explain to you what they need, and let them talk, and then that alleviates you from the stress of trying to figure out what they want, and then in turn creates the issue at pickup where expectations weren't very clear.
Right.
I mean, even not as a detailer, but in marketing, I mean, I kind of do the same thing where you talk to them and say, what's going on? And they come to you and they say, here are all the problems. They lay it out, and then you kind of help them out where where you fit best.
How does your business solve their problem?
Right.
Yep.
That's it. That's probably the biggest key that I've always noticed. And that's in any job that I've ever had is they're coming to you because they need something. It's my job to find out what their problems are and then lay out the process of here's what you can expect from me. Here's what you're telling me your problem is. Here's how much of your problem I can solve. Because let's face it, we're not a miracle worker. I can't take your stain or your scratch and I can't make it disappear 100%. If I could do that, I'd give you a new car.
Right.
And that's where I have to explain that to them up front. Ask the questions accordingly so that I can lay out the process of how we're going to fix that problem. So they have a better understanding. So when they come back, it kind of alleviates the expectation that you're going to have that heated, because to me, that's where your heated exchanges come from is there's a misunderstanding between what they were expecting and what you deliver.
Expectations. That's
so
right.
If I can paint that picture up front, it really eliminates a lot of those things. And that's where I think women are really, really good. We like to dive into those problems, especially as a mom.
Right.
I tell my kids all the time, I can't fix your problems if you don't tell me what's wrong.
Sure.
So if they're telling me the truth about the problem, then 9 times out of 10, I can meet the expectation.
It's all about communication.
Tracy, I kind of want to get your input on this because you deal with a different,
Much different
client.
Yep.
You're primarily doing aviation, and so, I imagine those conversations are a bit different. You want to tell us about maybe, kind of any
Your
experience in your past that you had to do with?
Yeah, with the aviation, the client that we mainly deal with, I've never met the actual owner. We deal with a different point of contact. So I have to deal with him, and he can be a little particular, let's say, at times. I haven't had any kind of emotional outburst or reaction to some of the things he said. I may have said it like if he sent me a text, he's like, Tracy, you didn't do the belly of the aircraft. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm telling Glenn, I'm like, well, we weren't supposed to do that.
Right.
I'm like, and I came, I have to come, I was able to, compose myself and go back and say, okay, well that, when we first started doing your aircraft, that wasn't something that was discussed. You kind of added that to the list of things you wanted done, but you didn't communicate it to me. So therefore, I apologize. It didn't get done, but we most certainly will add it on our list of stuff to do to the aircraft. Not a problem. We charge accordingly. But as far as aviation, he's really the only guy that we have. I mean, I do deal with the customers, and in our automotive side, haven't had anybody really tweak me the wrong way for being a woman in the job. I think I'd had to deal with my husband originally.
Yeah.
He likes to tell the story when I came, when we met, and he would be working in the garage, and I would, I want to be part of what you're doing. So I would come down and, hey, what you doing? What can I do to help? And he took him a long time to be receptive of the idea that his partner wanted to be involved with him in doing the stuff. And now he's like, she can kick pretty much anybody's butt and doing detailing. But as far as emotional reactions, I haven't really had anybody that I've had to,
I think it's like what Madison said, it's not a man-woman thing. It's managing the emotions. And we have, like, I had those same comments, a customer calls me or texts me or texts in the office and says, hey, you guys forgot the engine bay, whatever. And they're like, hey, we didn't, you immediately go, well, you didn't pay for it. Or like, that's your fault. Everybody thinks that, but you're not going to answer that way. And so it's managing those emotions. And, I think it's a stereotype. I don't think that it's, that that like it's a woman that's going to overreact. I think it's just how they're they manage that. I'm curious, Sarah, so as far as my shop goes, I know when I have women detailers and I prefer them, and I guys always hate when I say this too at the shop. They're better. Women are better detailers than men, in my opinion. So the stereotype is that women are pickier. Would you say that has helped you, or would you say that that's true, first of all? And if so, does that help you in the detailing side? And if you're not as involved in it, Paige, I want to get your kind of answer to that as well, y'all.
Yeah, so I do a lot of our film jobs with our lead PPS tech. So in that sense, I think, my particular skill set and being very detail oriented, and, being kind of calm with it, because it can be a frustrating thing to work with. It's very tedious. But yeah, I mean, just being really detail oriented, as I am, I think is a great skill that helps in this industry.
It does. Big time.
Yeah. I think a big thing that has to deal with that is the patience part of it, especially doing the film wrapping. For me particularly, I do all the interior work because let's just face it, my husband does not get into the crannies.
You're better.
Yeah,
you can say it. You're better.
He won't deny it. And then even that, when we do these ceramic coating jobs, I'm the one that's going through with a fine tooth comb at the end, making sure there's no high spots and stuff, because he knows and he'll tell you, I see a lot more, and it may be because I'm a little bit younger than he is, but I'm not there. We're just going to go with it's because I'm a girl, and it's better there.
That's great.
I love it. All right.
What were you saying earlier?
Okay.
Sorry, she was claiming to be better than me.
She's a better podcaster than Ryan, for sure. She came up here. Ryan had to ditch us one day, and Madison came up here and showed out. So we were always janking on him that she was going to replace him. She sounds better. She's much prettier to look at. Ryan's got a couple strikes against him.
That's kind of sexist.
All right. So do you guys feel that women detailers communicate with customers differently than men? Like, do you guys think that that you guys are, I want to put it, nicer or have a different tone whenever you guys talk to them versus a man who's more stern and they respond to that better? Christy?
Yes and no. I think it comes down to what your comfort level is when you're talking to the customers. Because if you're coming across as you don't know something, they're going to pick up on it. So when it comes to communicating, for me, I think we're better at what we're comfortable with. And that may or may not make sense. It's not always about, I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to put it. Let me do this. Ask the question one more time.
So whenever you're communicating with men, do you feel that women detailers communicate with their customers differently than men?
It's still a yes and no. It's going to come down to the personality of the man or the woman I'm in front of.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
If I'm trying to be something that I'm not, they're going to, like I said, they're going to pick up on that.
They'll read right through it. Yeah.
I think what we are better informers.
Right.
We give more, we're going to naturally give more information, I think, than most men are. If that customer is seeking information, I think that's what we're going to gravitate to. It's definitely what I gravitate to. If I have a customer, especially a man, that comes to me and he's very unsure about how to take care of his car, what his car needs, what that process is going to look like after I'm finished, I can tell already, okay, he wants information, and that's where I'm going to shine. If I've got and excuse me for saying this, if I've got the egotistical guy that's just like, I want my car to look wow factor, we're going to cut out all that. We're going to get the car done, and he's just going to be wowed by it and not really ask any questions.
Let the work speak for itself.
Look.
Yep.
So yes, I think in general, women can be better at that, because I think we're really good at picking up on what does this customer want. versus how do I just handle the situation? I kind of let the customer lead me through that. And from there, I can kind of compartmentalize on how I want to handle it.
Yeah,
I think
that's a tough question.
A lot of it comes from confidence too. So, like in training this shop manager, he does a lot of what, y'all do in your business as far as the customer interaction. That's his job at our shop now. And it's being confident in what we've done and then gauging, how to communicate that to the different customers, because every customer is different. So man or woman in that position, you got to be confident in what you're delivering and then gauge it based on what those, customer was expecting.
Yeah. And Trey has an easier job too, because he's a dreamboat. Let's get that out the way.
He's a what?
Yeah, that's
never mind. We're live on the internet.
Yeah, no. So he tends to, he gets the ladies just kind of just glaze over when they look at him. But the men, he has to really, do the job of explaining. So I totally get that as well.
I think where you're going to find that women do well is 90% of our customers are more often going to be men. Mm-hmm. And you're going to get the ones that will challenge you. They're going to ask you specific questions to see if you're on top of your game. Yep. They're going to test you a little bit. Like you said, if you're confident and you know how to run your business and you're doing your job, it's not going to matter how you explain your process, how you walk them through the final finished product. How you deliver on those expectations, it's going to speak volumes for you anyway. So at that point, their ego is going to drop a little bit. They're going to become more comfortable with you. Your relationship's going to build and grow off of that. And then they forget all about the fact that you're even a female. They're like, wow, this is amazing. This is an amazing detailer. And this is somebody who I want to talk to.
Sarah, you deal with a lot of y'all's customer interaction, right? Do you see a difference, or do you ever have anything that you want to pass off to Chris, or feel the need to do that? As being the woman side of things, like how does that affect your communication?
Yeah, and just like Christy was saying, just being really comfortable with all of the knowledge, like getting all that knowledge under your belt, and being fluent on what you're trying to communicate and all of your products and services and what they have to offer is super important. I remember when I came on full time and kind of started to take over the back end, I remember just being really uncomfortable. And I had to, have long conversations with Chris and just listen to him for hours on end. And just to become more comfortable with everything. But in terms of our differences and how we go about communicating with customers, Chris can talk for hours about anything. And I'm kind of more like cut and dry, like here's here's what it is. Like, this is what we've got. This is what it can do. This is what it has to offer. But in addition, I'm always looking for ways to make connections.
Sure.
So I think just kind of getting more on that personal level is what I do a lot differently than he does.
Yeah, and we keep speaking to Trey, which is our new shop manager, but we have Gabby and Tatum as there are, so it's two women that operate our sales team that sells the detail. And when Gabby was coming on, she, I get it now, because now I'm like, we just kind of briefly explained some things to her and just expected her to run with it. But she's really, you don't realize these guys are asking questions to try to trip them up. Yes. And so she soaked it all in like a sponge. She wanted to talk. She kept asking me all these questions. I'm like, why? Like, you're getting really deep with some of this. And I'm like, you don't have to. But now I understand that they probably get hammered with questions, as she's talking to every customer. She's making the sell. And
well, that leads me to my question. Paige, do you always change out the blinker fluid, or do you let it go for a couple weeks? A couple times.
What is blinker fluid?
Right, there you go. Good answer.
I was just trying to trip you up. That was the thing. Yeah.
My husband takes care of that. He tried to clean the engine bay of a Tesla once. So
that's great. That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, who was that?
Who was that? Was that on our? Was that here?
That was
my God.
Chris, are you behind a little bit? Is that like it?
Oh my God.
That's hilarious. I don't think he knew you was there. The door's open.
All right. So when some people think of women detailers, they may think of someone with a certain look that fits in with the boys, but that's obviously not necessarily true. So I'm seeing that, there's a lot of women that maintain their hair, their nails. Do you guys find that it's more difficult doing that while you're detailing as opposed to doing something like what I do behind a desk?
Yeah. Madison just rolls in sometimes, like, she don't.
Tracy, take that. We're gonna let you start with that.
I'm not a girly girl. I never have been. There have been times that I have maintained nice nails. Yes. When we got married, I had nails for as long as I could keep them on, and then they started to bother me, and I just picked them off. And I
get it.
I'm not girly girl.
Yeah.
Do I try to maintain a feminine look? Yes, I do to a certain extent. But if you would have seen me last week, I was crawling around underneath of a Western Star day cab, and my husband thought it was pretty funny to take a picture of me. And I mean, I was literally like, I could have just been rolling in a pig pen. I would.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like at some point your looks go out the window when you're outside, you're working that hard in the heat, or
unless you're Paige or Sarah, and you've always got to be worried that,
well, their cameraman chooses very distinct locations to take their pictures.
But again, that's the thing. I don't have to do anything.
That's true.
That's always ready.
I love that. Christy, what about you?
Well, no, she's got her look.
I know she's got her look. That's why I'm asking. She's every time I've ever had a meeting with Chrissy over Zoom or whatever, she's like head to toe done up, hair done, makeup, and I'm
she's got style.
She does.
I know.
She's like cool.
Well, when I saw you at the show, and that was the first time. The first time we actually met, and you definitely have this look, and you command like everybody's just like, oh, what has she got to say? Like there is a. But something about that just commands respect right out the gate. I mean, you definitely.
So I guess I'm a little different. Yes. So I'm a presentation person. I will be that way to the day that I die. I'm going to be decked out 99% of the time. That's just ingrained in me. Do I think it's important in what we do and in detailing? No. But I come from, a high level sales background for corporations. So that's just part of what I am and what I do. The cool thing about it for me is, I keep short hair. It's completely shaved. I literally can get ready in about 10 minutes. So it's not like I put a whole lot of effort into it, which is cool. But yes, I look at it like this. If I'm going to meet a client or I've got somebody coming to me, that first impression means everything. Once we get past that point and they're coming in for the job, I'm dressed to work. I've got a hat on. Yes, I keep very minimal makeup on. I might throw earrings on or something like that, but I'm in a Liquid Art t-shirt. I look completely different, but they don't see that anymore. They've already got their impression about me before we've ever gotten to the second day. So it means everything to me. I go into high-level dealerships. I deal with primarily high-end clients. So I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Is it for everybody? Maybe not, but it is for me.
Yeah.
We were interviewing someone one time. I can't remember who. It was a lady detailer, and she was like, she did the videos, remember? And she was really she had a big following on YouTube, and she was like, "I'll make up for the video." And then immediately after the camera's off, she's like, I let it all go. She's like, it just sweat pours, like, hair, whatever. She's like, I don't care anymore. Like, it's back to work as usual. And like, I'm not worried about that. And so it's a reality, right?
It is. Absolutely. I think that, being presentable, that first impression in any industry is really important too. Some days we come in here looking
Well, but you know when you're always. Yeah, Madison. Y'all have days where you're developing. You're building a website or you're working on, and you're going to be locked in the office. There's no
hair on top of your head,
whatever,
sweatpants.
Yeah,
you're there for comfort.
You're doing the work side of things. But when it's presentation side, or when we're going to speak to who was it we went and asked
for money, we were asking for a grant.
we run a big boat show. And we had to go to the board of hotel owners downtown, awful. And it was awful. I think she's like,
I wore heels. I think I tripped going inside. It was not it. Not my thing.
It was funny, but Sarah, you actually missed out. We were talking about the interesting photo angles that yours and Paige's husband chooses to avoid maybe the lack of makeup, but I don't know why he chooses this angle. Is this something you're aware of?
Do you guys discuss this prior to the beginning of the day, or is that something you just get flooded with a bunch of comments on a post?
I actually didn't even recognize Paige.
She had a head. Sorry.
Paige, turn around.
That's awesome.
I think they both have similar skill sets with that, and just kind of like sneak behind us when we are very busy working hard for our business and livelihood. But I have no knowledge of it happening. It's actually scary.
It's an action shot. But you know what? Like when we had Skylar and T, and Skylar was running the shop, and we would take pictures. Obviously, it was not that like
no, it wasn't ever like that.
But what I'm saying is the engagement that we got on social media, like the following, was so much better than the guy. I mean, it could be the same shot, same interior style, but whatever, typical detail shot.
And it got so much more engagement.
Skylar and T and Tab, and you put them on camera and they just look good on camera.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. Didn't they say 90% of their customers are going to be men? So, it doesn't, I don't think it hurts to have,
No, absolutely not.
Women in advertising for sure, and marketing.
Right. That's right.
That's true.
So, ladies, tell me a little bit about, we've got SEMA coming up. I know that's a little bit, it's pretty close. Is anybody making that trip out there? Oh,
nice. Whoop.
Tracy, are you raising your hand or are you ignoring?
No.
Sorry, it's just somebody came in.
Are you going to SEMA?
Me?
Yes.
No, we're not able to. We literally just have too much going on, and I can't even put people anywhere because I have no place to put them, and we have kind of a big thing happening by the end of the month, and so you'll see a post about that once it happens. Awesome. So hopefully then we can do more. But yeah, this year I wish I could, but I'm not able to. I've got to run this place.
That's right. So, SEMA, there's trainings and all. I do want to mention before we jump off, I want to ask about your training experience. And I've met most of you or seen you at trainings that I've been at for sure, Tracy. Is your experience in training, because it is predominantly male dominated, okay? So most of the attendees there are males. Do you see that there's a difference? Do you see that trainings could improve in that manner, or is it like, hey, I'm just one of? And I'd like for each one of you to answer that. If anybody that's been to a training.
So your question is that do you think men are intimidated by us being at a training?
Yes. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Because I know I
am. I haven't gotten that so much per se. I think myself, I've been a little intimidated at a couple of the trainings because, I'm like, is my detail knowledge enough? Do I know as much as them? And especially the first couple ones when I went to my very first training was the IGL one in Tennessee. And I was trying to prove myself as a detailer. Not only that, I was trying to prove myself IGL Kenzo worthy. And I was scared shitless, excuse me, because I'm like, I had Jennifer Turcotte there, and I'm having to prove to her that I'm a woman in this industry, and I can do the job, not only do the job, but do a fantastic job. So that I was a little intimidated by that. It took me, and I had to be away from Glenn at the time, and they separated us. And I'm like, no,
wow.
don't separate us. But as far as men, how men receive me in a training, I've been very well received. I think most any trainings, they've been kind of probably a little shocked at some of the things that, I could do. But I never had a bad experience with someone saying, no, you don't belong here. This isn't your industry. So I was fortunate with that.
And Jennifer was actually going to join us today, but she is recovering from surgery. So sorry, Jen couldn't make it. But she had mentioned when she was training down here that she gets nervous doing the trainings when it's, so I think
she doesn't look
as a trainer, I think there's always there's always that sense of butterflies when you're getting in front of a group of professionals that are looking to you for your information. So I know, when you get up to speak in front of them, you kind of have that moment, and then once the ice breaks, and we're all just humans anyway, and we just do it.
Right. How about you, Christy?
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience with the trainings and how those have been working for you.
I love them. I'll go to any training I can get my hands on. I don't view it as it's something that I can get enough of. Anyone that I've ever gone to or participated in, I have actually kind of found, I think the men gravitate to, especially if it's a female that shows really good attributes in the industry. But I think that can go both ways. I mean, it's all going to depend on how involved are you on being trained. Are you coachable? Yep. I come from a background of athletics. So if you're coachable and you want to learn and you're not scared to ask questions and you're willing to just jump in there, I think in today's day and time, because I think more men are accepting to the fact that there's just as many women in male industries as are male in women industries. So if you're just willing to learn and get in there and not be intimidated, they're going to gravitate to you. You're going to ask questions. They're going to want to teach you. And you're a good listener. They feel like you're receptive to accepting their teaching and training techniques, and they gravitate to that. We're very good at getting involved. That's right. I think as a male trainer, that's what they're looking for. They don't want somebody that's just going to sit there and think that they know everything. They want somebody that's going to listen to them, get engaged, get involved, and they're going to give that person their all, whether they're male or female.
That's right. Sarah, I know you and Chris have been to a lot of trainings together, and have you experienced any of that, or is it, basically been just like if it were, just like Chris going through training, if you get the same experience?
So I just went to my first solo training,
nice,
less than a month ago. I went to Chicago Auto Pros.
Oh, wow.
With Jason Otterness, Greg Nattenson, and Eric Joseph. It was amazing. But kind of circling back, my first training experience with Chris was SDC 2 years ago. My first ever session there was by myself with you guys.
Yeah.
And so you made me feel really comfortable, and that was just a really good start for me, and just gave me a good feeling going forward. I felt very warm and welcomed. I felt like everyone was very receptive, and I walked into my first, now completely solo, last month, and I was the only girl there. And I was like, okay, well, I guess that's it. Awesome. Not one more coming? No.
Well, you guys were absolute sponges that particular show. I mean, you never stopped. I saw you guys at every booth get as much information as you could. I mean, it was work just watching you guys.
And that's the thing. We go to a lot. We're going to SEMA, and we go to a lot, but we always find, we try our best to get all the information that we possibly can, but we also find it very motivating, and we have new drive and new goals that come out of every event that we go to. So I'm Chris has always been really big on the trainings. And before that first SDC, I was like, I don't know. But everyone that I've been to, I've gotten a lot of knowledge, met a lot of great people, and come back with new motivation, new goals, new drive. So.
I was going to say, how many outfits does Chris plan on bringing to this SEMA show?
So,
I mean, he'll usually do at least 2 changes a day, I believe.
Well, he does. But actually, when I packed for Chicago, and it was 2 days of training, I was there in total like 3 full days, like half a day and half a day after. But he looked at my suitcase and he was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Why are you bringing all this stuff?" And I was like, "Well, I have to work out in the morning, and then I have to go to training all day, and then they're doing dinner
yeah.
night. So I have to have 3 outfits a day." And like, that's outrageous. So
as he puts his 8 pairs of shoes in his
right. Got to have the watch, shoes, the hat.
Yeah, his is all giant shoes. Mine's little sandals.
Yeah, they're like flat.
Yeah.
Paige,
he's one to talk.
Paige, in your training experience, have you noticed any difference being a woman, in training? Have you noticed anything like that could have been done differently, or is it basically like the rest?
And Raymond does training too for OP, right?
Yeah, I was just about to hop into that. So with him in the owner's pride position that he's in, we do host trainings out of our location. Mm-hmm. And one of the cool things is that I've got no problem hopping in, talking about products, giving out knowledge. And it seems like a lot of the people that are there take in that information because I'm able to explain it in just a little bit differently than how he would present the information. Which I think, goes back to being a female and just also like the teacher, the mom part of you want to try to explain something, easier for someone to understand. So that's where I think I've got the advantage there. But then on the flip side, being in trainings, for example, like the Southern Detailers Conference with Nathan and the boat training, there were a few other women that were involved. And I found it interesting that it was like the women were all like intimidated by each other. And I don't know if that was like the male presence creating that, like we weren't just the only one in the room. So there's that competition. I
didn't even think about that.
Right.
But I would love to see us all take that power and like that energy and like all stand together and all just sit there and, feed off of that energy and promote, not being competition, because that's not what anyone is here. We're all supposed to be helping each other out and,
Absolutely.
So that was the one thing that I noticed a little differently.
Yeah. And, as someone that speaks and does these trainings as well, and we do a different style, I don't like training detailing I have here in my shop. But, usually if I'm out on the road, I'm speaking to the business side of things, but I always love, when women are there, they're always more attentive. Just like Joel Lapon mentioned, they're sit up front. They're more attentive.
They got their notebooks out, their pens, like they're ready.
They're asking questions, which is awesome. For some, and Tracy, Miss Tracy asked some questions too. She's gonna make sure she understands it. And but it's awesome because now you're not just up there delivering this 45 minutes to an hour worth of you're engaged and you're absolutely talking to their issues or their problems and you feel fulfilled when you leave that training. Like, okay, I answered someone's specific questions and I'm not up here just regurgitating the same stuff I've said 100 times. I was speaking specific to someone's problems and saying, this is how it could be solved, or this may be a solution for you. And it gets a lot of back and forth banter, which is really good. Women are
much better.
Awesome at that. And so,
there's this thing, guys, they don't want to feel or look stupid.
They don't want to ask questions.
Right, because there's this there's this bit of, whatever it is that you don't want to look stupid in front of any other guys or anything. So you'll just be quiet and not know something. That's definitely a downfall.
It's ego, right? And kind of like what Paige was saying, that the group of girls were, competing with. Well, I think that happens with the guys, and they don't want to be the one that says, "Well, do I use this polish or do I do put this in my books," or whatever the question is, but in front of everyone else, where as the lady, that's up front, she's like, "Hey, what do I do here? Or what would I do there?" Yeah. And it's like, "Oh, this is awesome. You're listening." And now we can really, speak to that.
Yeah. I definitely see that even guys in their own way have that competition. I mean, I feel like I've seen it even in our shop before, probably in the past, but more so than the women that have worked in the shop. So it's in a different way though, but I get it.
Well, one thing that I would like to see come out of this, and I know we have a small platform, but I think that as we all engage with each other, is we start to see this conversation stop going from man and woman, and we say, hey, you're just a detailer like the rest of us.
Yes.
And you know what? And so, we did this intentionally, but I knew that I wanted to sum it up by saying I'm tired of that conversation and saying, well, this is male dominated. That's not the case. Listen, we're all detailers. We're all professionals running a business, and that's the way we should be treated and talked to. And we don't, there should be no catering to or pandering to. We all are different in our own way. Doesn't matter, what sex we are. It matters about who we are as a person and what we have to offer to the industry. I do believe females are better detailers, and I will say that to my grave. I love to fill my shop up.
Oh, you were gonna define woman to me earlier.
No, I wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
So, but anyways.
Undefined.
Yeah, right. But I do want to thank you, for joining us in on this. And it's tough for two guys to sit here and interview you ladies and make sure that we say things correctly. And we wanted to make sure that we weren't, in any way offensive or any way kind of, off base. So we brought Madison in to make sure that she kept us on track, make sure we did things right. And we hope we did y'all justice. But I do want to say by the end of this thing that we all are inclusive. Absolutely. And we ditch this man-woman thing.
We're not here to perpetuate any type of differences. I joke. Nope. They know. I think you girls know that I'm a bit of a goof sometimes. So there's never any ill intention or
not at all.
It's all love, and we've really developed some great relationships with these ladies.
Oh,
that's something that we certainly value, and we look forward to seeing you guys, all the time.
Yeah.
Dustin, great support there.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you bringing it, bringing it to light that, that there can be some stereotypes and acknowledging us as detailers.
Hey, we're all in this together. I say that all the time, and I mean it 100%. We're all in this together. We're all going to grow as a community. Tracy, you're going to keep us all in check. I know that for sure. I can just check my text message and know that.
Tell Miss Lisa I said hello.
But listen, thank y'all for joining. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy days to talk to us. We hope we did it justice, like I said. But at the end of the day, we are all in this together, and we appreciate y'all coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great.
Thanks.
Bye.
So I don't know. Hang on, there we go. I don't know how I sum this up. If I was the second coolest guy in the room. So, right? That's not true. All right, I'm the sixth coolest person in the room.
Sixth coolest person.
Yeah, I don't know how many people were on there. So 7. I'm not. Christy Vest has got such style, and Paige. I mean, they all got style. Yes. But Christy just leans into hers, and she's a firecracker.
Dude. She's no nonsense. Yeah, you're not getting one over on her. Like she
she would put you in your place.
She's intimidating, isn't she?
She is intimidating.
She asked me the other day if you were going to bring me to any of the events and leave Ryan at home.
Oh, I wish I could.
I know.
I wish I could.
She was like, I really want to meet you, and I really want you to come to one of these shows that we go to, but. Yeah. But for some reason Ryan's always there, and I'm like, I don't.
Well, me and Ryan sleep in the same bed, so it had a little weird.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
I wouldn't. That's brave.
It was a joke.
That's how we like to think of ourselves. Very brave.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So you know what time? Are we going right into it? Yes.
Yeah, we're
what
going
time
right into it.
All right.
That's correct. Or hack.
Be very interesting, right, Ryan?
Yeah, I was going to say we definitely are going to have fun with this. We're looking forward to Madison's input. You're going to roll us a video, and we're going to figure out what this hack is.
We're going to figure out the hack. Okay, I have no idea this hack. Is it listening to music while you're detailing?
He was DJing. I don't know.
He was DJing? Okay, so polishing. All right, so we're polishing some metal with an hybrid polisher. Madison, what do you think this hack is? What's the hack?
I'm trying to. I feel like it has something to do. I feel like it has something to do with the towel and how he was wiping the steering wheel, but I could be totally off base on
Do
that
they
one.
call that a steering wheel?
That's not a steering wheel.
Oh, that's
that is a wheel.
A wheel.
Yeah.
But
and what kind of
actually, no, that's incorrect too.
What kind of polisher was that?
Was it a DA or a fixed rotation?
So that was a DA version of the hybrid polisher. That can be a forced rotation. It can be a rotary or a DA. You just happen to get it right. Go ahead, Ryan. What do you think hack was?
Man, I don't know. I don't even know what product they were using to polish on there, but I know Chris was killing it.
I'll tell you.
The DJ.
So I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I'm gonna say. Oh, it's the polish. It's the polish.
Yeah,
is it the
polish?
Polish.
Is it Chris? Give me a nod if it's the polish. No? How are we gonna find out what the hack is?
Yeah,
did we get the answer?
No, Chris.
It's the polish. Oh, he's delayed. Okay, so it's the polish. But you know what? Here, I'm changing it. All right, here's what I think the hack should be.
All right.
Listening to music while you detail.
Yes.
This is something that I always love to do is put my earbuds in. I know you do it when you're working on a website. I know Jessica does it when she's, working on editing videos. Chris and them do it. Ryan, I don't know.
I don't have earbuds in. I'm always listening out for that phone, sir.
But you listen to podcasts and things like that while you're doing
breaks.
Yeah. So listening to music, listening to things, while you're working is a great way to chunk out some time, like just knock it out and pass the time where you're not so ingrained in like every minute detail or minute along the way.
And I've heard a lot of detailers, at least star detailers that watch the show, listen to the show while they're detailing.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty cool to just pop in some earbuds and
that's really and that's a crazy thought because I remember when we started, we were just like, is anybody really gonna listen to this? Is anybody gonna listen to this mess? So, but you can. All right, so let's circle it back. Let's circle it back. Metal polish. Okay. Just so happens you're in the woods.
Okay.
You have the boat. What is the boat?
What was the hack though? I still don't understand what the polish.
You're in the woods on a boat?
No, the boat's just there.
Oh, okay.
It's in the woods
with
you.
There's a lake in the woods.
Yeah, there's a lake in the woods with a boat sitting in it.
Okay.
And you have metal polish and an hybrid polisher. You can go ahead and polish in metal. I don't know.
Okay, this hack is confirmed.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna have to get Chris in here from now on at the end of it to give us the actual.
We gotta have
the
the
hack
answer.
is. Yeah.
Of course, the metal's polished.
We're still working out this new.
Bear with us.
So.
Hopefully, it was as fun for you as it was for us because we still don't know the hack. All right, look.
Clearly, what's his name did? Mike did.
Well, he knew. Yeah. All right, Chad. Yeah. Listen, that was a great show. Awesome show. Madison, you kill it. I mean, anytime, Ryan, you want to miss, just go ahead.
Absolutely.
Like I said, it was a great show, though. I need to connect. We're going to have Kate Mueller.
Yeah, so Kate Mueller, or I don't know if he pronounced it Mueller. Okay. Probably, but so he's out of Cape, what's it called? No,
Florida.
Fort Myers.
Yeah.
He was dead in the middle of that storm that blew through.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking to him, and he's got a great story. Young kid going to FSU, dude. He's got it going on. So.
Until then, you catch us where you listen to your podcast. We'll be there, but we're much prettier in person. Peace. Well, that was a great show.